Welcome to the Tongston Entrepreneurial Education Magazine. This is where we showcase, we discuss, and we explore everything to do with education, enterprise, media, and finance. Today, the focus is on education. Of course, I'm your host, Engineer Bello Tongo, the founder and CEO of Tongston. Our focus today is on education, and we have a very, very important guest with us. He exists as an advisory capacity for Tongston, and also he's a very vast and experienced educator in so many different fields. We can talk about education, business, management, entrepreneurship, CSR, economics, and I think even to a certain extent, Islamic finance. You may correct me if I'm wrong, sir.
Yeah, you're right.
And also you are actually, normally when one Googles you, the title that comes on the Google address for your personal brand, it says author. And I think that definitely makes a good, if I can say, justice to the kind of work, a body of work that you've been writing and publishing for all these years. There are so many publications that I've seen, and I think the audience also, they can look through in terms of any of the topics I mentioned before, which you have published, and you continuously write and put out. Even you speak at so many different events. So it's something that is really, I'm very honored to be speaking with you on this topic of education, because you are like a full-blown educator writing. So welcome, sir.
And I think pleasure. Thanks for inviting me to this knowledge sharing platform.
Yeah. Yes, indeed, sir. Knowledge is the key. So let me start with generally on a light note, just to introduce what, normally as far as choosing a career is concerned, from the time we were kids to going into school, university, and etc. Was this always the plan for you to become an educator? And also, what was the journey? I mean, in terms of you choosing the career that you chose, the university that you chose, and every other thing that you've done all the way to this point?
Yeah, thank you for that very important question. I was actually nurtured and raised in Lagos State.
Right.
And then in a community where you have a primary school, secondary school, and also the first higher institution in Nigeria, Yaba College of Technology. So I grew up, in a school environment. So most times, after school, I do go to Yaba Tech, either for extracurricular activities and what have you. And interestingly, when I finished my secondary school, I got admission to Obafemi Awolowo University. And the first job I got was in Yaba Tech, where I grew up.
Okay.
So I got a job as an administrative officer, and I was on that particular job for 13 years. I rose to the position of a senior assistant registrar. But while working as senior assistant registrar, I was teaching on a part-time basis. So in 2009, I was now converted. I was given a letter of conversion from senior assistant registrar to lecturer grade 1. So my lecturing started after graduation, but as a part-time lecturer. So I would say that I grew up in an educational environment. My first job was, as education administrator. Then I converted to a full-time lecturer in 2009, and I left Yaba Tech in 2017 for American University of Nigeria. So thereafter, I left for Southeast Asia. So all my, job experience actually oscillate around educational institution.
Yeah. I think that was one of the key points I even forgot to mention for the audience, which is that you are currently an assistant professor of entrepreneurship in the University of Brunei, Darussalam, right? Yeah, and you've been there for the past, I don't know, I think more than 3 years now, right?
It's almost 3 years now. By January, it will be 3 years, yeah.
Yes, exactly. And that's where you're based now. And I don't know, I'm hoping your students, I don't know, you were at the tertiary level here in Nigeria and now at the tertiary level abroad. I wonder what the experience has been like with students and with the education system, basically.
No, it's different, but I will commend the Vice President Atiku Abubakar for
Right.
setting up American University of Nigeria. That
Okay.
actually gave me leverage because when I was in Yabatech, you teach still using marker, and the whiteboard. But at the American University of Nigeria, you have slides, PowerPoint
Yes.
projector, you have screen, video
Yeah.
conferencing. In fact,
Yeah.
state-of-the-art technology in
Yeah.
American University. So when I moved to Southeast Asia, it
Yeah.
was very, very easy. The same standard, the same,
Yes.
infrastructure,
Yeah.
amenities. So I quickly adjusted. And also when it comes to the values too, American University of Nigeria is built on the liberal philosophy of American education, where
Yes.
you use, student-centered approach with so
Yeah.
many pedagogical skills and the
Yes.
methodology. So in Southeast Asia, it's a big institution, well-funded. So they have all this philosophy ingrained in the system. So I fit in immediately when I joined. So thanks to Vice President Atiku Abubakar for
Yes.
nurturing AUN. Yeah.
Yeah. Indeed. So the transition wasn't even difficult for you. It was like
It was, like switching from Gear 1 to Gear 2.
yes, exactly. It's interesting that you're talking about pedagogy and things like that. It will be, I mean, because my background, as you know, originally is in civil engineering, construction, and etc. Before transitioning into education. I wonder, for especially the educators that are in our audience, what would you say are the key competencies needed at this day and age for I don't know if I can say 21st century educator, whether you are at especially at the tertiary level, because you see in Nigeria and even Africa and so many other countries, the focus has always been, when it comes to improving education, they focus on the tertiary level. But of course, to improve the tertiary level, you also have to improve the educators themselves. So what have you found in terms of now your colleagues there in Dar es Salaam, University of Brunei, or generally even from all your other experiences? What are the key competencies that are needed for the right type of educator qualification now?
Yeah, for you to be a world-class educator, either in Nigeria or in other climes, number one, you must have the academic qualification. That is your PhD, your master's, your first degree. Then apart from that, you need professional qualification. If you have the opportunity, if you can, enroll for either PGT, is always very good. And where you cannot do that, you can try to invest in what is called experiential learning.
Okay.
You join experiential classroom to learn contemporary teaching, pedagogy. For instance, when you want to teach case study, you must be grounded in case teaching. So people just speak case study and start give students as assignment, come back. They treat it like composition. No, it's not composition. You need to use different method, either action learning. You can also use things like experiential learning. You use video to complement. Podcast is being used these days. You bring podcast to class, students listen to that particular podcast, and you post questions. It becomes more interactive. At times you use role play, where you come to class to demonstrate how, venture capitalists provide funds for, venture owners. You pitch your ideas, and the venture capitalist asks salient questions. You can act it in class, like a play, like a drama. So we call that role play. So all this will make learning experience more, enduring and also more engaging. More importantly too, it's always good to know that these days, materials are available. The problem the students have is how to think, how to use those materials. So these days, emphasis should not be on, what you teach, but how you teach it. For instance, just pick your phone and type something on ChatGPT. It's going to give you rich information. So the information, is there. But how do you disseminate that particular information to produce the effect in the lives of students. So these days, the emphasis on how the pedagogy and the andragogy, all this matter a lot. So that's the advice I'll give my colleagues, that they should invest in experiential training, action learning, and other ways of making learning more experiential and also outcome, based. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I don't know how much you follow the news now in Nigeria. Just yesterday, the budget was submitted at the National Assembly. And after security, education took the next highest amount. But as you said,
that's a good development.
Yes, exactly. But as we always say, the majority of even what goes into the education needs to improve the teacher's capacity to teach at this day.
Exactly.
Where you have ChatGPT, you have YouTube, and so many other resources. It has to be different. Yes, exactly.
In fact, UNESCO has a project called, is heavily funded. It's called OER, Open Educational Resources.
Okay.
Most of the things you need to use in your classroom are already available free. For instance, most of our students in our institution, they don't know that you can get statistical tool free. PSPP is free. Jamovi is free. But SPSS is not free. But Jamovi will do more than SPSS and is free.
Right.
PSPP is also free. These are the things you can learn in 10 minutes. And they will help you generate your correlation, regression analysis, anything you want to do, your table and everything. So, but we need to really invest in teachers and also students to be able to know that all these things are available free. Even the ChatGPT that we are using today, as far as UNESCO is concerned, is a very good thing for those who are disadvantaged in terms of having access to expensive textbook. So ChatGPT has actually provided what is called decolonization of education and democratization of education. You can have all this information at your fingertips. So nobody can, marginalize you anymore. That is democratization. Some have colonized knowledge. Now, ChatGPT said, no, we make that knowledge available. That is decolonization of knowledge. So all this information, we need to bring it to the doorstep of educators and also students. And what you don't have, you can't give.
Yes. So even let me speak from a perspective of an educator now also. Does it mean now, based on what you said, is that as far as myself being an educator is concerned, I shouldn't worry about providing my students the information because the information is available on Google, ChatGPT, and all that. So I should focus basically on what they can use that information to do, right? Am I right?
You focus, you see, if you leave them to source for the information, they will be lost.
Okay.
You source, you refine that particular information because there's what we call information overload. Right. If you download so many information on your folder, at the end of the day, you won't be able to read them. So as educators, get few ones. Don't develop. Don't reinvent the wheel. Get them, 2, 3, 4, make them available to your student. That is what is called flip learning. You give them in advance. What you focus your attention on is how do I deliver that knowledge so that it will be long-lasting and also outcome-based. At the end of the day, students should be able to do X, Y, Z. If you have achieved that, then education has been fulfilled. But if you just go to class Monday to Friday, you are just talking and talking, but they are not able to solve problems. They are not able to remember what you have taught. They are not able to use their limbs, their hands. Then you have not actually, educate anybody. You have only wasted time. So the how is very, very important these days than what.
Yes, I see your point. And speaking of how now, I want to talk about how to achieve entrepreneurship education. We're a bit very passionate about that side of education, and it's something that you see around the world, even here in Nigeria. So many people are talking about it because of the challenges of employment, unemployment happening right now. And I think even entrepreneurship has become almost like a lifestyle thing now. Everybody wants to become an entrepreneur. But school system doesn't quite do a good job of providing it. I know you have the experience here in Nigeria, but also abroad now in the University of Brunei, Darussalam. But also as an authority figure in terms of entrepreneurship education, how that we're talking about, how is it best achieved? How do you think it's best achieved? Is it lecturing? Is it practical projects, case studies that you mentioned? I don't know. It would be good to really know some ideas.
First and foremost, entrepreneurship education is very, very interesting but complex. You know, I was at Indiana South Bend for a training program. So some of the people who started entrepreneurship in the US were the one facilitating the training. They are all old, 1984. They said institutions should first sit down. Ask yourself, are you teaching entrepreneurship education or you are training entrepreneurs? These are two philosophies. There are some universities, they train entrepreneurs, but not ordinary students, but students who want to be entrepreneurs after passing through, you know, academic program. They have University Startup Center within the university. Berkeley, California has that. For instance, if engineer Bello Tongo, after his civil engineering, wants to go into full-time entrepreneurship, then you go to University Startup Center. That is training entrepreneurs. But for general students, for them to fit into the world of work, for them to be self-reliant, self-sufficient, then you provide entrepreneurship education. And when you provide that particular training for students, either from year 1 to year 4, you don't tell them that compulsory you must be entrepreneur. No, the first stage is build in them what is called EM, entrepreneurial mindset. Let them have entrepreneurial mindset. You know, let them think innovatively. Let them be able to ask questions. Let them be proactive. Let them be competitive. Let the student also have what we can call independence in terms of how they think, how they react. After some time, you move from entrepreneurial mindset to entrepreneurial intention. Maybe by the time they get to year 3, wow, I think I love this entrepreneurship thing. I think I will go into social entrepreneurship because I love to solve social problems. Those in engineering, I think I love this entrepreneurship. I'll go into technology entrepreneurship. Those in agriculture, wow, I want to go into agri-business or agripreneurship. Those in medicine, I want to create solution in medicine. That is medipreneur. So we call that entrepreneurial intention. By the time they reach final year and they're about going out and they are seeing the figures of unemployment, they will now move from entrepreneurial intention to entrepreneurial action. Now, I must set up my own business. So 3 things, EM to EI, EI to EA. But most times we just go to the university, we start telling students that you must offer entrepreneurship education and you must go out and set up business. No. Entrepreneurship education is useful for everybody, but not everyone is cut out to be entrepreneurs. At the end of the training, some of them will be entrepreneurs. They want to be like Bill Gates, Elon Musk. But some who want to be intrapreneur. They want to go into Globacom. They want to go into MTN and help MTN to advance, to create more product, more services. These are super employees. We call them intrapreneurs, and they will make future. So when they are ready to become entrepreneurs, they withdraw and then set up their business. Some will not be entrepreneurs. They will not be entrepreneurs, but they will be entrepreneurial leader. They will work for companies. Some will be politicians, and they will be changing lives. Look at the governor of Borno State. He's an entrepreneurial leader. You can see that he's different from other politicians. That is the entrepreneurship in him. So 3 things: entrepreneurship, entrepreneur, intrapreneur, entrepreneurial leader. So teaching students in school how to make pop-off cake, that is vocational skill. Our parents have done that, and that is not entrepreneurship. If you can only make it entrepreneurship if it fills a gap. You go to Borno and you lack pop-off in that particular area, you have discovered opportunity, then it becomes entrepreneurship. So learning skill alone does not make it entrepreneurship. It must fill gap. There is what we call product market fit. Once your product fit the need of the market, then it becomes entrepreneurship. If it does not, then you won't make any headway. So, and when you teach it in class, you must use multiple methods: case study, video analysis, picture analysis. Then you use all the canvases. People know only business model canvas. You have unique value proposition canvas, you have empathy canvas, and so many canvases, so that they will learn practically how to prototype. And at times you ask them to go to the field for environmental scanning, see things yourself, identify the problem, empathize with the people, look at the problem, then design the solution. So all these are the things you use. And more importantly, when you set up entrepreneurship in the university, for it to really have impact, you must operate using either triple helix or quadruple helix. Because whatever you teach on campus, if you don't have interface with the Chamber of Commerce, private sector, you are wasting time. You don't have interface with the community, you are wasting time. If you don't have interface, even with the government agency, you're also wasting. So the four must connect, or the three, to make entrepreneurship long-lasting and also impactful.
Wow, that's, in fact, you have almost, I think this is like the highlight for me so far of this section, because you have almost been speaking about the things I've always also been advocating for, but you've actually given.
I lost your voice. Hello, engineer. I lost your voice.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, yes, sorry. We'll edit it. There was a technology glitch. So I was saying, you actually, everything that you've said, actually, I very much agree with it. And we always advocate for it also, that there should be, whether you're in employment or in business or even in government, you should have entrepreneurial approach to things.
Exactly.
Yes, and I like the steps that you put: entrepreneurial mindset, entrepreneurial intention, and entrepreneurial
action.
Yes, exactly, all through the years of university. One of the, as you know, the elements of education is curriculum, the teaching, and then the assessment. So on the assessment side, how best does one, or does an educator or an educational institution assess entrepreneurship or the entrepreneurial capacity of their students?
Okay. The best way, according to educators from US and other places, because we gathered twice this year, is to use 360 approach. This 360 approach simply means the traditional way of assessing, examination, test, and so on and so forth. We have to do it because university accreditors will not compromise that. NUC, ACSB, they want to see the mark, the score. But you make that particular assessment very, very low, like 30%. While the experiential, or what I call the pragmatic aspect, 60 or 70. For instance, in the class, group activity, workshop, using of canvases, business model canvas, empathy canvas, unique value proposition canvas. Then there is prototyping. You said you have a particular idea. If you have an idea, you should be able to design it in class using sketch paper before you move, to using technology and other things. Prototyping, you'll be able to assess that this guy actually, knows his idea quite well. Because if you have an idea and you cannot prototype it, you are only joking. You are only joking. So we need to really supervise all this. Then field activities too. You ask people, for instance, if you are teaching social entrepreneurship, it's not taught in classroom. Ask them to go to rural area and go and interview the people about their problems. From their problem, they'll be able to design solution. And that solution, they decide how to make that particular solution, very cheap and affordable. And of course, to be able to scale up that particular business. So it's a field work. You come back and write your reports and you make your presentation. So in Harvard, MIT, even in my current school, at the end of the semester, for any course in entrepreneurship, you do a project and you pitch. You pitch at the end of the semester. On the basis of your pitching, we now assess you. Some students are not really good in expressing themselves in writing, but they will be good, successful business people because they know what they are doing. So they'll be able to design their prototype, put it in the slide, video, and then pitch in class. Based on that, you score them 60 over 70, 50 over, 60, and then they move forward. So it's better than, just giving them an exam over 100, because somebody is able to define entrepreneurship. What are the qualities of an entrepreneur? Risk-taker. These are things we have learned in commerce and economics. They will not make you a great, entrepreneur. In American University of Nigeria, we have a particular course. It's one of the best entrepreneurship courses I've taught. It's called Entrepreneurial Field Experience, ENT 201. At the beginning of the semester, about 25 students or 30 will join the class. You break them into 5 and ask them to go and investigate the business of their choice. And they write their short business plan using the business model canvas. Then we invite people from the bursary, chartered accountant and lecturer to come and judge the best 2 projects. From the best 2 projects, the university will fund them $5,000 each for the end of the semester. So at the end of that particular activity, they will start the business on campus. They will run that business for 1 semester. We have office for that. We have supermarket for that. Whatever you want to do, you do it. Then you now break yourself into, group from 5 to 2. You appoint your chairman, vice chairman, you give other position, then you start work. It's practical. At the end of the semester, you write operational report and financial report. We don't insist that you must make profit. Even making loss is a learning curve.
Yes, yes.
Making loss itself, you better to explain why you made loss. If you are given the opportunity again, that is where the reflective essay comes in. That if you are given the opportunity again, what would you do differently? Because you have made loss. Then those who have made profit, if you are given the opportunity, what would you do differently? This, we are going to raise the bar of excellence, move from 10% maybe to 15% or 25%. So that is practical entrepreneurship. So most of our students who pass through that particular program, those of them who are into health technology, digital technology, or even law, they are doing well now in wherever they find themselves. Because it's not theory. You are running real business on campus with $5,000 converted to Naira. GT is usually our banker. Once they go there, they convert it to Naira for them, and they can buy whatever they want to buy, raw materials and everything. So they run it, for minimum of 8 hours a day in shift. So this is practical. We call it campus business, ENT 201.
Right. I don't think I've heard of that model. Even the only similar thing I've heard is this kind of a small businesses. I think in the UK also. No, sorry, Finland. At the secondary school level, students run businesses.
In University of Tampa in 2019 and 2000, I was there. They also have it. The only difference is that the university will not fund you. Students will sit down together and raise their own fund. But at American University of Nigeria, you pitch to the venture capitalists. University is the venture capitalist, and the vice president finance is the head of that particular, they will now provide the fund with the expectation that you use it, effectively and efficiently, and you bring profit. So it's really experiential,
Now that makes so much sense, actually. I think if more can do it, then it will be really...
In Nigeria, AUN is the only university doing that. And interestingly, I was the one, handling that particular module. Every semester, we run it every semester. So, and I manage that particular program for 7 semesters, because I was there for 3.5 years, 7 semesters, every semester, $5,000 for 2 groups, making $10,000. Before inflation, before 2021, $5,000, So it's really,
it's really, really interesting, actually. As I said, this is the first time I'm hearing such model of entrepreneurship education, if I can put that, being done in a university campus. I know there were some questions being said before. I never even touched on it. So let me just jump into one of them now quickly, because of the day and age that we're in terms of online education and online learning. So the question is, with the growth of online education, basically, what is the most significant opportunity or maybe challenges that you see for educational institutions in terms of quality of student learning that you've seen? And you can, whether
with regards to
where you are now.
Let me start with the benefit. Online learning has benefit for both students and the higher education institution. For students, it is flexible. It's flexible, and also it is cost effective. So, and more importantly too, when you learn online, you'll be able to prioritize your schedule. Even if you are working and you are doing online learning, maybe MP, MSc, you can prioritize your schedule, and it gives you work-life balance. You have to be on campus 24/7. But there are a number of disadvantages. It is good for matured learners. You know, those who are working, who are matured, who are able to plan their time, their schedule, and they have their philosophy of life already. But for the young ones, they need to really interact, because when you don't interact, you are going to have half a fraction of education. Because those who design education, it has three domains. There is the cognitive domain, the affective domain, and the psychomotor. So online learning can only provide cognitive. You know, the affective, 0, psychomotor, 0, or psychomotor maybe 30%. There's a breakout session, do this. But because everything is still digitalized, so you guys have been robotized. So like a robot, you are not seeing yourself, you're only seeing images. So that affection, that bonding, that numbing will not be there. So, and if you grow up and you find yourself in industrial environment, workplace, it's going to show in your interpersonal relation. So this is a very important area of online education. And the solution to that is that continue with your online education, but periodically, maybe 4 times the semester, provide a physical environment for them to meet, to bond, to interact. So it's very, very good with that. And there are some modules.
That's like a hybrid form, you mean? So
yeah,
some
like
parts
hybrid, And the reason for that is not that they are not really doing well in their intellectual, aspect, but the bonding, the affection, the feelings, the values, and also to meet real human beings, not picture, not images. And at times, you may also be delivering lecture, either synchronous or asynchronous. Somebody may, switch off his or her camera and walk away. So there's no way to really, measure, the level of performance and participation. So all these are the downside of online education, which of course will be corrected based on the suggestion I provided. And more importantly too, for the university, they can cut down costs, cut down energy, cut down resources, and also they can bring in so many students. For online, I've attended a particular workshop organized by MIT online. More than 7,000 people were on Zoom. It's a big gathering. Yeah, it's a big gathering. So it's sensitization. So you can bring in so many students and they'll be learning at their own pace. It's 4 years, but you can start to turn it to 6 years, 7 years, based on your own pace of learning. So these are the benefits of online education, but the negative should be worked on, or else we are going to produce big, graduates.
Even this particular question is something that sometimes I wonder, where are we heading to in the next 10, 20 years? Like our university is going to be more and more, it depends on the course or the degree, of course. You cannot study medicine online, for instance, except for a certain extent. But I wonder, even with the institutions that you are in now, the university that you are in, to what extent do you blend online learning with also the in-person learning? Or does it always, I know it's most effective, of course, in person, but we see more and more online universities opening and existing now. But where are we heading to? What do you think in the next 10 years, 20 years?
I think what we are going to see in the next 10, 20 years is the concept of borderless university.
Okay.
So, yeah, although the traditional university will still be there, but they themselves will be running hybrid. In fact, my university is already thinking about MBA online for people of the world. It saves cost, and also you're able to do what is called internationalization of your education. You know, if you teach only people in Brunei, you're only teaching the local people. But when people from France, Netherlands are taking your MBA, it's becoming an international thing. And it's part of what AACSB is encouraging, internationalization of the knowledge, delivery, the student, the faculty, even the mode of delivery should be multifaceted. So there is no problem with that because I've actually attended a number of online learning, and I actually gained more than face-to-face. I attended a particular program in Stanford. In fact, it's a recorded, everything is recorded, the materials, the video, but what I gained is far more than what you get even in a physical environment, because those materials have been, standardized. They have been evaluated by experts in education, and they are very rich video, very rich case study. So, but it's for advanced learners, not for the young ones. For the young ones, it won't be useful. But for the advanced learners, it's really a top notch. And already so many are doing it. There are so many things that I did not learn in the university. I learned them through YouTube or some of these online university. So because their curriculum is very rich and their material too, university don't have them. There are so many universities who are still teaching computer science, whereas people are moving away from computer to decision science, to robotics, to machine language. But they are still teaching computer science. So computer science is very, very narrow. The world has moved beyond computer. AI, these are things being taught. AI application and some other, things that the industry actually requires. So most of these online universities, they are teaching some of these skills, whereas conventional universities are still teaching, some things that are not really relevant in the industry.
Yes. Yeah, I think as you were mentioning AI, of course, as you know, education or educators and educational institutions are supposed to prepare students for the world of now and the world of the future, right?
Yeah.
What we see with the world of now is technology. You mentioned AI, machine learning. So the world of employment and the job market is changing very much. So I think this ties to my next question, which is that how can educational institutions make sure that they better prepare students for that world that we're not just in now, but also we're heading to in the next 10 years, 20 years, and etc. Because sometimes it feels like disconnect between
the National University Commission doing that right away. Recently, the university curriculum has been upgraded. And I was privileged to actually go through, because some people are actually criticizing that particular curriculum. The first thing is that we have moved away from the old curriculum. And the current one, by all standard, global standard, international standard, is a very good effort. It may not be perfect, but it's a very good effort. And one thing I want people to realize is that blueprint is not what makes great university or great nation, but ability to implement effectively, creatively, innovatively that particular curriculum or blueprint. Look at Nigeria. We have one of the best budgets and the economic blueprint in the world. But when it comes to implementation, sincerity, we are always found to be defaulting. I remember when the National Assembly invited the chief economist of Nigeria in charge of this program called NAPEP. It was a very national economic poverty something strategy. They said this, Theoretically, it was good. The policy thrust was good, and they set out to alleviate poverty. But at the end of the program, they succeeded in aggravating poverty. That was how the National Assembly put it. Because it was a conduit pipe for corruption.
Yeah.
Technocrats, implementers were making money. Look at the pension, the new pension scheme. It worked in Canada and other parts of the world, and it is also security proof. But they started it in Nigeria, it was working, then later on it was compromised. So the problem is not blueprint, it's not curriculum, but the implementer and their sincerity. So the first one is have a good curriculum, which we have now. And if you check that particular curriculum, they are no more giving all students generalized entrepreneurship. No. If you're in accounting, there's a specialized type of entrepreneur they want you to have. For those who are in engineering, there's a specialized one. And that is the beauty of that particular curriculum. You know, teaching engineering students how to fry pawpaw for Indomie. Preparing that guy. We're talking about I can use AI to simplify engineering operation. By so doing, they come up with new prototype, new invention that they can commercialize.
Yeah.
And when you train them to a level, Hacks Industry, Shell, Chevron, come to our university. Come and pitch your problem to us. We are not pitching our business plan. Come and pitch your problem to us. We are going to fix it with a solution. And university will be getting huge money. That is the type of entrepreneurship, high impact entrepreneurship. That is what NUC is trying to do. So, but the next thing is prepare educators to be able to implement that particular curriculum. Most of our educators still go to classroom with marker alone. No case study, no educational video, no postcard, no knowledge of action learning, and experiential learning, and some other novel way of teaching students. If they don't have that, it will still be theory. You know, how do you use AI for research? You have gathered big data. How can you use AI to help you analyze it? How can you use AI? I can use ChatGPT to analyze interview. You'll be surprised. All the interview, put it in a transcript. There's a command I will give ChatGPT. It's going to give me the content analysis, the thematic analysis, and it will make my write-up easy. What I will do for 6 months, I can do it in 6 weeks. But how many people know about this? So all these are things we need to prepare people for. I can teach university students SPAP, PSPP, and Jamovi in just 1 hour, and they will be able to run their Excel, data. But the question is, do we teach our students? Do they even know what is Jamovi? And it is free. PSPP is free. To use it, you can learn it in 30 minutes, but they don't know how to use all these tools. So, and if you don't know how to use all these tools, if you are employed by Shell and Chevron, of course, they will sack you that this guy is not really current. He has BSc, he has engine, but he doesn't know how to implement, the tools that we use in our own organization. So that is where what I mentioned earlier on comes in. Private sector collaboration. Let them go to university for industrial attachment. Let them go there for CWES. Let them go there for industrial tours, industrial visit, exchange, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
I think you, incidentally, my next question was going to be on that regarding industries and all these companies, Shell, Chevron, and etc., how they connect with what the university is producing, but also not just connecting in terms of producing graduates that can meet their needs, but almost like a collaborative problem solving between the universities and the industries and companies also. So it's like you almost preempted actually what I was even going to ask on that. And it really makes much sense because, as I said, demands on the demand side of things is companies and industries. They are demanding for a certain talent. And on the supply side is the universities and institutions that provide that demand, what they are. So there has to be like a connection between the two. And so one of my next questions is going to be on lifelong learning. I see you are a typical, I think, lifelong learner. because of all the constant, I know every time I go on your LinkedIn, most times there's always a new degree, a new certificate, a new training and all that, and new applications that you do. So how important, or how with the increase basically of importance of lifelong learning, of course, how can educational institutions adapt their own curriculum to make sure that the students that they produce are lifelong learners, and it's not just that you have finished your degree, you just go and keep it and that's it. You're not learning anymore because you'll be left behind. How can that be integrated into the...
It's very, very simple. The first thing is, let's start with the university lecturer too. Some professors, maybe in biology, botany, pharmacy, they love saying, I'm an authority in this area. The reality is that what he claimed to be authority is already outdated. And that's the reason why Nigerian doctors are not allowed to practice in US and also in UK, because our own version of medicine is outdated. Even as an accountant, you need to be retrained, and as a lawyer, you know, because there are new standards in this particular discipline. So make sure you raise the bar. After graduating, continue to read. When I was in UK for my PhD, I subscribed to a particular website. I think it's called ZTalks. Whenever people publish new articles in your area, it's going to alert you. You know? Some people, they did their PhD maybe in 1988, maybe on social responsibility. If you ask them to define social responsibility, they'll be giving definition of 90. Things have moved. You've gone beyond that. So continue to be alive, read articles, attend conferences, go to Learned Society, read magazine. That's number one. Then second one, as student and university, always watch YouTube for new things. You want to learn how to do what is called forecasting using your data. You can watch video. You want to learn how to use AI to actually produce cartoon. You can learn that in YouTube. So let them come to watch YouTube and see the dynamism, the change that is taking place in their environment. That is number two. Number three, there are so many platforms where you can get free training and certification. For instance, there's a particular academy, I think Khan Academy. All their training program is free. In fact, I've done more than 20 training there. Also, there is a particular website also created by UNDP in conjunction with Islamic Development Bank. Contemporary issues in SDGs, in green entrepreneurship, sustainable lifestyle, sustainable investment, ESG, CSR. You are going to do free training, but rigorous. You have access to the material, video, and the PDF, and finally you'll be certificated. So I do that a lot as a person, and I integrate them as part of my training. For instance, for my master's program, any program in master's that I teach, you must take green entrepreneurship. It will take you about 2 to 3 weeks. The benefit is that the world is moving away from destructive entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship that doesn't have regard for environmental and social cost and environmental and social benefit. So by doing that particular program, whatever we have taught you in whether technology entrepreneurship, social entrepreneurship, you now learn, you know, green entrepreneurship, so that you help, you know, maintain our universe. You learn conservation, you learn optimization, and you learn how to mitigate externalities so as to reduce climate change backlashes. So this is what UN wants. And at the end of the day, even the accreditation body, AACSB, they said any course you teach, you must integrate SDGs. So that it becomes part and parcel of graduates. So this is what is called thought leadership. You don't learn that in classroom, but through other sources, you learn all this. And finally, too, there's what we call collaborative learning. When you meet at conferences, don't produce new slides. You can exchange slides. You share slides. So you see powerful slide that somebody has actually design, you can use that, in your own learning. So this is lifelong learning. Then also on social media, LinkedIn, that is why you see me posting things. You share ideas, you contribute to debate, discourse. Then more importantly, you attend conferences as guest speaker. So all these are lifelong learning. If you do this, it will get to a stage when you find yourself in any position, you can talk on anything. And that is lifelong learning. Because what you have learned in university is just the basic. You must build on it after graduating. And you do that incrementally. You don't rush. Little. Then you become, a sustainable learner. You learn till you die. But some they'll just sit down. I'm a professor, Socrates, as knowledgeable as Socrates was, he said, I cannot teach anybody anything. That what you see me doing is just to teach you how to think. So that is what teachers are doing. We only guide students on how to think critically. Well, we can't teach anything because the word teaching is nebulous. When you teach in classroom, go and do the assessment. You may be surprised out of 50, only 4 are actually following you. But you are wasting time shouting. So don't teach people really, but teach people how to think. So that when they take the material, listen to you, look at video, read journals, they'll be able to make meaning for their life. And that is lifelong learning.
Yes, indeed. And I think maybe one of the misconceptions that is affecting lifelong learning is most people think learning has to be in the classroom. But as what you said now, even if it's a webinar or conference or YouTube.
Conference, even going to the market to observe what is going on, market dynamics.
Exactly.
The way people interact is part of learning. Yes, going to capital market, see how things are done.
Exactly. It's like the entire world is a school as
it's a school. Exactly.
Exactly.
It's school.
And any situation you find yourself in is a topic or is a subject, basically, and you go through it and learn. One of the things I want to ask now, of the questions that I was planning to ask, is student motivation. As you said, lifelong learning, everybody must continue to learn. But even within the classroom or the lecture or university theater, motivation is very important to get students to want to learn what you're teaching them and move forward. How do you tackle this? Is it a struggle? And when you find those challenges, how do you basically get them motivated to want to learn or consume what you're offering them?
Yeah, actually, it's a very serious issue. Even professors of education, they said, no one size fits all when it comes to motivation. Just make sure that you find what really suits you. For instance, before the beginning of the semester, it's always encouraged to have the list of the students. Start every interaction with them before classroom. You can create maybe a WhatsApp. You are going to start in January next year, but the registration is completed in December. Put them on your WhatsApp and start, do what is called ice breaking. Oh, my name is, Lukman. Call me Lukman, not Dr. Lukman. I'm just a learner like you. I will learn from you, you learn from me. Things like that is going to break the ice. Introduce yourself to what are your expectations in this particular program. So before coming to class, you're already motivating that this man is friendly. He's not a sadist, because we have this concept of sadism, that some lecturers are sadists. A lecturer, when you are sad, keep your sadness at home. When you get to class, students are customers. University is a commercial enterprise, and they paid. So you must deliver the product excellently, effectively. Keep your sadness, your marital problem at home. See them as customers. So you have already, bond with them. By the time you enter classroom, it's a continuation of what you have already started. That is one aspect. Another one that I learned recently is when you come to class, make your class activity, you know, workshop-like, you know, let students sit down, you know, as if they are in workshop, 3-4 persons. Okay. Give them a lot of group activities rather than talking. Because when you talk, after some time, the student will really, you know, lose concentration. Yes. So the best thing you can give students, the first 10 minutes. So after the first 10 minutes, break them into group, let them do group activities. Then come to class with cardboard, canvases, things that they will work on. Or you can use the approach of, you know, action learning. You know, let one of them be problem presenter. You want to teach prototyping, for instance. Let that person be the one presenting. Okay, I want to design a shoe that will be long-lasting. Then the rest will not be asking about the qualities of that particular shoe. And why are you putting this? Why are you putting this? So at the end of the day, each group will come and discuss their findings. That will save you your energy, your stress, and they will learn more doing that. That is motivation. When they leave your classroom, they will not be tired. They will be waiting for another one next week or 2 days after. But if you are doing the talking, oh, that man will come again, come and do his 45 minutes talking. Do you understand? Yes. You know, any question? No. They are not motivated. They are there because university said they should be there. So don't teach using teacher-centered, use student-centered approach. Introduce the topic, break them into a group, and let them do it. Or at times, do the first topic in the semester, the remaining topic, distribute to them in group. Right. So next lesson, you are not the one teaching, they will be the one to teach. The beauty of that is that they will be motivated, they will carry out research, they want to impress you with the best slide, with the best picture, with the best presentation, with the best references and citation. So they will learn more because it's their own work. So these are the things that world-class universities do. So you don't have to prepare every week. You go to class, but you only fill the gap. Wherever you think they are going astray, you fill the gap, you correct them. So that is student-centered. And that's the best way of teaching people. And historically too, that is the method of Socrates. And that you said, it's called Socratic method, Elenchi. When he sees engineer Tongo, said ethics is good. It's good to be ethical. Engineer, what is ethics? You define ethics. Why have you defined ethics in this particular way? Based on your definition, how many classification can we put ethics? Do you think ethics can advance our society? Look at Nigeria as a country. Are we really ethical in our conduct, in our political life? You know, Socrates is not saying anything. He's not defining anything. You'll be the one to be giving that particular answer. At the end of the day, you become more educated, more informed. So that is why it's called Socratic method. And that is where people derive action learning. You know?
Yeah, makes sense. It actually makes sense a lot. And I see even such practices being done by the best educators around the world. And and it's very effective. By the
very effective.
Very effective. And I wish it's something that can be practiced across all levels of education so that it's more, not just motivating for the students, but it's more engaging and you get the results out of it.
The university has to invest in it. For instance, in my own university here, a whole center, they call it TLC, Teaching Learning Center. What they do is to teach methodology from January to December. Every week they organize training and it's for all lecturers in engineering. You pick the ones you like, but they do it every week. Andragogy, pedagogy, active learning, active research, case study analysis, problem solving. Attend the one you like. So, and you now fit it into your own method of teaching, whether as an engineer, as a teacher, I mean, as a scientist. So at the end of the day, you become a great teacher. They are trying to fill that question how best to teach, not what.
Yes. How?
Having a PhD shows that you are a bundle of knowledge. You have knowledge, but how do you make it useful for these kids?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. I think I have just one more question, although it's in two parts in a way.
Yeah.
So the question is, what has been your most proudest moment or project or work that you have done as an educator all these years in all these different locations? And then number two, what are you looking forward to the most in the next 10 years as a professional educator, international educator now, of course? So it's a two-part question. First, what are you most proud of that you have done in the past? It can be a project, any work in education around the world.
I think the ones I've done that I'm really very proud of is that I initiated the business plan competition when I was in Yaba College of Technology. But unfortunately, Yaba couldn't sustain it. So I now developed a blueprint for an NGO. It's called Zakat and Sadakat Foundation. So they started in 2014 and till date, they are still doing it. So I was the consultant for 5 years. And they have disbursed more than 300 million to, startups. I designed the templates. I organized the competition 5 times before leaving for ULA. So when I came to ULA, American University of Nigeria, I replicated something like that. I call it business concept competition because some of these petty traders in Adamawa, they don't know about business plan. Their knowledge, their cognitive skills goes beyond that. So we only look at the concept. So, and we conducted, I think, 3 editions sponsored by this same body. So they bring the product, the money from Lagos, bring it to American University. Then that actually endeared Adamawa Chamber of Commerce, to work with me. So I work with Adamawa Chamber of Commerce, and later on some NGOs too, also in Abuja, they partner with American University through me twice to actually empower people financially and also intellectually. So whenever I remember this, even the video, I still have them, I'm always fulfilled, And also in Brunei Darussalam, so in order to contribute to the society too, I joined a particular network. It's a big network in that country. It's called BMEN. That is Brunei Mentors for Entrepreneurship Network. They work outside. They are like the ecosystem, partner. They support what universities are doing. They train students on entrepreneurship, on patenting, funding, and some other things. So I'm a certified mentor with them. So, and recently too, they have what they call ASEAN. ASEAN is like the ECOWAS, which is a regional bloc. So recently, the 10 countries in that particular region, they came up with what they call AMEN. AMEN simply means ASEAN Mentorship for Entrepreneurs Network. So I was also given a opportunity to be a member. And they have invested a lot in training. They train us as mentors and coaches. So apart from being a lecturer, I'm a mentor, I'm also a coach. And the essence is to contribute to what? To the society. So I have so many students who are not students of UPD that have mentored on business model, business plan, financials, packaging, marketing, etc. So this has been a fulfilling thing for me. Apart from my keynote speak, invitation in Nigeria, Malaysia. So I speak a lot,
And then the second part of the question, which is, what are you looking forward to the most in the next 10 years, 20 years?
Well, the next 10 years, I think I will call it a tripod. Because what I'm looking for is a blend of my own aspiration, my children's aspiration, and also my retirement aspiration. So the first one that relates to personal is that I'm preparing myself for my professorial, position. So everything I'm doing, community service, teaching, research, is towards that. And secondly, for my family, my children, this provides opportunity to also nurture them. If you are successful and your children are not, you have failed. So spiritually, intellectually, and also professionally, I'm nurturing them. So within a period of 10 years that you mentioned, I want all of them to have finished their university degree, masters, and blah, blah, blah. Then I'll be planning my retirement to come back to Nigeria and to become, an NGO person,
Okay.
NGO.
Yes. This is very interesting, sir. It's very interesting. With all the body of work, as I said, every single day is like, I don't know, somebody was asking me in the team that how come you've been able to publish so much work and you're always doing a lot on your LinkedIn. So I'm always like wondering, okay, if this has happened in the past few years, even this next 10 years that you're talking about, more and more will be seen and be published.
Of course. Because currently I have about 5 networks. In Georgia, in Romania, in Nigeria, in Saudi. So we look at topics and we write articles together collaboratively. So that makes it simple. You're able to publish as many people as possible. And I have students too that I'm supervising, masters, PhD, MBA. So when they write, they put my name, I had my own contribution. So it gets published. And also some publishers too, invite me to lead special issue or a guest editor or an editor of a book. I just published a contemporary discourse in halal entrepreneurship. So I'm the editor. I have about 2-3 chapters there. It's about 22 chapters. So all these are what I do as a teacher.
Wow, that's interesting. And I think for the audience too, they can easily find you on LinkedIn if they want advice, mentorship, or maybe they're also scholarly like yourself.
Exactly.
I think the best way to reach you is Lukman Raimi on LinkedIn, right?
Exactly, LinkedIn.
Yes. But normally when I Google your name, there are so many other platforms that have your name.
Exactly, so many journals. I'm a member of editorial board of so many journals. Even Covenant University, I'm a member of their editorial journal. Gusau, I'm a member of the editorial journal. So I have the name written everywhere.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. So for the audience, you can reach him best on LinkedIn, Lukman Raimi, or you can, if you can find your way to University of Brunei, Darussalam for now, you can reach him there. And generally, I think, sir, I really am honored to have hosted you on this Tongston Entrepreneurial Education Magazine interview, if I can say that. And I'm not at your level yet in terms of PhD, but I take your point. When I'm ready to do my doctoral program,
you do it at your own time.
Yes, we'll definitely collaborate in that sense, hopefully. So thank you very much, sir. And it's been really great having you. Any final comments that you have before
my final comment is just to tell the listening public that you need to contribute your own quota to nation building. I'm a teacher, I'm contributing my own quota. I did that in Yabatech, American University. I'm no more in Nigeria, but almost every week or twice a week, they invite me for one thing or the other in Nigeria. So I'm contributing my own quota. And there are a number of Nigerians here who are doing their PhD and supervising some. Them are giving direction to some who are not directly under my tutelage. So it's part of my own contribution to nation building. So do yours too, so that Nigeria will be a great nation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.